So usually when you get off the tenders, that area right there, they'll have people with clipboards, they'll have people with umbrellas, they'll have people with paddles, something like that to signify, hey, ding, 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 ding. This is the spot to go. They won't usually send you to go to a pier or go somewhere else, right? And then the way Disneyland does it is they'll give you a coordinating sticker, so you have Pinocchio, and it coordinates with that paddle. Just in case you get lost or whatever, you'll know where to go.
Of the movies that are being played and their time frames.
Sorry about the wait, everyone. Come on in. Thomas Sound was the jazz singer a couple of years earlier in 1927, but it was played in silent movie houses around the country. He realized that they needed a movie theater that was specifically made for talking movies. So he went on the quest of building this beautiful gem here. It opens its doors on May 29th, 1929 to silent movies. The movie equipment wasn't even made for talking movies just yet. It took about eight more months. But the first talking movie that played here was Rio Rita. We still play it here once a year, every year on its anniversary. So why don't you come on in? There's 1,122 seats. Please sit wherever you would like. The video is a little small, so you might want to sit up front if you have trouble seeing. But notice the murals when you walk in. Notice all the seats. All the best seats for sound are in the very back of the movie house here, and you can tell by the plush seats they have, okay? Notice the plush seats in the very back. In 1929, these were 50 cents. The general admission seats were.
Wow.
So you guys will be able to hear very well. It just maybe seen it might be a little small. Just let you know.
I'm just holding on to you. Wherever you want. It hecka echoes. It's beautiful. Look up on top.
Notice all the beautiful murals
Look.
on the sides here. In 1928,
Yeah.
the Chinese Drama Theater opened up in Hollywood. Mr. Wrigley was in attendance. He fell in love with all the murals there at Chinese Drama Theater. He asked the artist John Gabriel Beckman to come and paddle.
1,000.
Something I'd like to point out is when the building was built in 1929, hats were a common, everybody wore hats back in the day. I think it was a romantic time, everybody wearing hats. If you feel under your seats, they still have the original hat racks.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hat racks right there underneath the seats. Smart.
Oh, okay. Very.
Wow. They have Oregon. I know, I saw it. Did you see all the
All right,
stars?
we'll get the movie started here.
Super
Enjoy.
cool.
place and a time which was unmatched in U.S. history in terms of art, sports, music, and entertainment.
From dust.
This is the story of Hollywood's magical island, Catalina. In May of 1919, William Wrigley Jr. received a call from investor David Blankenhorn regarding the sale of a small island off the coast of California.
He bought it sight unseen, or he bought a portion of the island sight unseen in 1919.
The commercial expansion of the island continued under the supervision of David Renton. The first venture began with Sugarloaf Casino. This 8-sided, steel-framed, stud and stucco structure was designed as a dance pavilion which accommodated 250 couples. Transportation remained critical to the commercial success of the island. William Wrigley Jr. commissioned 2 steamers, the SS Avalon in 1920 and the SS Catalina in 1924. The steamers weighed over 2,000 tons each, with a holding capacity of over 1,500 people. The next phase of development was the redesign of the Sugarloaf Casino. William Wrigley Jr. and his team of architects moved the Sugarloaf Casino to Avalon Canyon to house the largest single bird cage in the world. Beginning in 1921, William Wrigley Jr.'s Chicago Cubs enjoyed spring training amidst the island's splendor. The baseball stadium was constructed adjacent to the golf course. For the next 30 years, the Chicago Cubs made Catalina their second home. The real treasure for Catalina turned out to be the famous Catalina tile. In 1926, clay deposits were transformed into a modern pottery factory based in Pebble Beach. In 1928, with the relocation of the Sugarloaf Casino, the Santa Catalina Island Company began to build its most memorable contribution, which to this day says Santa Catalina and Avalon to the world. The 140-foot-tall circular casino with a suspended 15,000-square-foot wooden ballroom dance floor. World-famous Chicago architects Walter Weber and Sumner Spalding designed this Venetian palace with the idea of building the world's largest circular ballroom, complete with a theater below. During construction, D.M. Renton recommended that William Wrigley Jr. hire artist John Gabriel Beckman to design the casino's mural.
He had done Grauman's Chinese Theater the year before, and so of course he had that reputation. The Wrigleys found out about Grauman's Chinese, and they had the idea of wanting to have the very first theater ever built for the advent of talking motion pictures. So they thought of no one else but Mr. Beckman.
The first of the Beckman murals feature 9 panels encircling the walls of the casino entrance. These 10-foot by 25-foot Art Deco style murals evolved from Greek origins and reflect the underwater marine life surrounding the new casino.
Mr. Wrigley had it set up for Mr. Beckman to come and get in a rowboat and to go through all of these gardens, or undersea gardens, to get some inspiration.
The crown jewel of Beckman's murals is the illustrious mermaid, located directly above the ticket booth. Inside the theater auditorium, Beckman's skill, along with 5 other artists, details the story of Catalina Island and features tales of early California history intertwined with Greek folklore. Above the stage, we see Beckman's reproduction of Botticelli's Venus, rising from the waves, framed by 500 square feet of gold leaf. Beckman's theater curtain richly illustrates William Wrigley Jr.'s journey across the country from Chicago to California. Located in the orchestral pit resides a 4-manual theater page organ, one of only 4 such organs in existence. It is still used during the museum's silent film benefit. The projection room houses 2 Brinker 35mm projectors, first in the world built for talkies, and in tests, the theater acoustics were perfect.
I see the genesis of this whole talking motion pictures right here at Catalina and right there in our theater.
The theater's acoustics were so advanced that in 1931, engineers from New York City traveled to Avalon to replicate the acoustic design model. Subsequently, these engineers designed the Radio City Music Hall Auditorium, guided by Catalina's acoustic blueprint. On May 29, 1929, at a cost of $2 million, the Catalina Casino was unveiled to the city of Avalon and to the world. Upon completion of the Catalina Casino, William Wrigley Jr. and his advertising partner, Otis Shepard, drew plans to market Catalina Island. For the next 25 years, an expanded fleet led by the SS Catalina and the SS Avalon transported millions of people to the island. As the steamers approached Avalon Harbor, speedboats nicknamed Miss Catalinas escorted them to the pier. Passengers threw coins into the water for local divers to retrieve at depths of 30 to 40 feet.
I always remember pulling into the dock that's no longer there. The kids would be in the water and they'd be going, throw a coin, and throw a big quarter and watch them dive down. And some kid would always be brave enough to sneak on the boat and get up and dive off the bow of the boat, which I don't know how high that bow was, but it was pretty high.
On a bright sunny day, the local divers collected as much as $15 in coins, silver dollars, and paper currency. The Catalina Casino now took its place as one of the leading big band entertainment venues in the Western world and ushered in the golden age of entertainment.
So we have two giant ballrooms we're speaking of now, like 20 some odd miles apart. And that is the Rendezvous Ballroom, where it all began with the jazz era, with the big bands and Stan Kenton and everybody, and the Avalon Casino Ballroom, where every one of the bands that played at the Rendezvous Ballroom went across the sea to play at the Catalina Ballroom.
Catalina was the playground of stars. It really was. When I say stars, I don't mean just acting stars, writers, directors, producers, executives. Those were all stars in my imagination, and they were all there. It was family night. It was really family night.
They had one thing in common: to have fun and to relax. Period. That was Catalina. You know, because there was something about being on an island, you know, away from it all. I say it was heaven on earth. It was absolutely a paradise.
You know, they do things other than movies in here. So there's city council meetings. They held church events here. During the war years from 42 to 45, the USO did over 30 shows up here with Bob Hope, Lucille Ball. Also, the Marines and the Navy would host their annual boxing matches in here. Imagine 1,000 sailors going at it up here on the stage. Well, feel free to take a look at our beautiful Page organ. There was only 4 of them made. Mr. Wrigley bought 2 of them back in 1929 at a cost of $48,000 each. Just to put that in perspective, average home on Catalina was about $2,500. So why don't you take a walk around, look at our beautiful stage, our orchestra pit.
Four in the world. That's crazy. Here's one of them.
You know, right now they're getting ready for the Jazz Tracks concert series that's going to go on this week and next week. So we just walked up 8 stories. Yeah, right? Yeah. The casino is 12 stories high, so we have a few more stories to go. But that was Mr. Wrigley's idea, was to put in these mass people movers. He got the idea from Wrigley Field. You see a lot of them in stadiums. How do you get a lot of people up in a short amount of time? By these beautiful mass people movers. If you see the lines when you were walking up, when we walk up to the ballroom, those are for ladies' heels, so they wouldn't slip, walk down. So welcome everyone. So I wanted to show everybody, this is what this point looked like back when Mr. Wrigley bought the island in 1919. He realized with all the tourism that was coming to the island, he was going to need a new casino pavilion to put out here so everyone can come out at night and dance. The first one they built was called the Sugarloaf Casino. It held up to about 500 people. He realized he was going to need to build a much bigger casino. 8 years later, he blew up these rocks, which you can't do in California today. But he just went out there, he blew them up, and he put this beautiful casino in that holds up to 6,500 people. We're going to be going up to the dance floor in just a few minutes. We're not going to be walking on the dance floor. You'll see there's a lot going on right now. But feel free to take pictures. It still holds the record for the most people to dance under a circular ballroom at 6,258. You see our beautiful outfits here. Everybody that worked here wore one of these special outfits. They were done by Otis and Dorothy Shepard. They were the art directors for the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company for 30 years. Why I like to point them out is they also did all the Cubs jerseys. They did all the Los Angeles Angels jerseys. Yes, Wrigley owned the Los Angeles Angels too as well. And he also owned the Women's Baseball League. If you remember Madonna, Tom Hanks, League of Their Own, they did all the jerseys for that league as well. From 1931 to 1960, the casino was known for its big band era. Anybody played here back in the days. That's how I got to know Catalina, was through CBS Radio. I didn't get to know it. My grandparents, though, every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, in the 30s and 40s, you'd have one of these lovely bands being played across the country. You'd be able to listen to it from Catalina. Something I don't normally point out, but I'm going to point out for you guys, since you're on the Disney cruise, there was a group that played over here quite a bit. They were called Firehouse 5+2. It took us a long time to figure out who they were. You know, they were the original Disney animators in the 30s and 40s. The guy on the drums is the head animator. They formed a band when they were drawing characters in the 30s and 40s. Mr. Wrigley would let them come out and perform shows here, which I thought was kind of cool. You can actually go out and buy their albums. So I don't know if anybody knew that, but that's an interesting clue. You see no cell phones in these two beautiful pictures? You know, if you were a gentleman and you couldn't get into the casino without a tie on, you could walk around the casino without a tie on, but you couldn't get in without wearing one. You see a couple of these guys here not wearing ties. Well, the thing to do back in the day, there weren't a lot of ties around on the island for some of these kids. One guy would come in with a tie and he'd drop the tie off the balcony to his buddies, and they just do that all night. So every once in a while we come across pictures like that. So we'll take the left here. You know, we didn't start serving alcohol in the casino until the late 50s. So all the bars you see, you're going to see 3 of them. They were all soda fountain bars. You see some soda fountain jerks up on the wall here. All the fish, all done by Otis and Dorothy Shepard as well. We'll make our way up to the beautiful ballroom. Feel free to take pictures and videos, and we'll make our way out onto the balcony. Going on in here. You You know, we still use this for several events throughout the year. The one you're seeing before you is the annual Jazz Tracks event. It's 2 weeks long. It's been going on for over 30 years. I think it's a great way to come to the casino and listen to the music that was intended to be played here. Back in 1929, the dance floor went all the way back to the walls. That's how they were able to get 6,258 people in here dancing. They added the high-risers and they added the 2 bars in the 1940s so they could put a kitchen in back and serve meals up here as well. You notice the Tiffany lamps that stick out? There's 5 of them. Aren't they beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we have to clean them or change any of the light bulbs, we have a crank up top and we crank them all the way down to about 36 inches off the floor here.
Oh, smart.
That's how they clean and change the light bulbs. It was just valued recently at over $5 million.
Wow.
Most of our lights are all original in here, which carry a hefty price tag. I think they're elegant looking. If you get a chance to get up close and look at them, feel free to do that. We're going to go outside. We'll walk around the balcony to the other side. Take pictures of your ship. I think this is the best view for the pictures of your ship out here. You see the Wrigley Mansion on top of the hill over there. Mr. Wrigley built that in 1921. He put that up there for 2 reasons. It's the first and last residence in Avalon to get sun. It also overlooked Wrigley Field, which was down in the gully over here, so he was able to watch his Cubs practice from his deck.
Wow.
You see the lines in the hills over here, those are called fire breaks. In 1915, we had a fire come through Avalon, pretty much destroyed the whole town, which forced the Banning brothers, who owned the island at the time, to sell to the Wrigley family. In 2007, we had a bad fire here in Avalon. You can't see them, but the fire breaks on the far right. In the middle of the night, the wind changed and the fire stopped at the fire break right before it went into town. When the Wrigleys were up at their mansion and they wanted to listen to the music at the casino, Mrs. Wrigley would call down here. The manager would open all the doors here. The music would flow out over the bay, and she'd be able to sit in her room and listen to the music up there. Kind of nice. We passed a few buildings walking over here. There's a blue and white one off to the right here. That's the Catalina Yacht Club. That was built in 1924. Really loved seeing companies come out there and build on Blue Island. There. We were walking by there.
See the little orange fishies. They're like big old goldfish.
As you're walking this way, if you look, you see our beautiful kelp bed forest. These are the same kelp bed forest that John Gabriel Beckham was paddling around in a glass bottom boat. You can't see very well today, but this is the kelp bed forest that he sketched down and they put up in front of the casino. All the murals in front of the casino were done taken from this kelp forest here. You see all the little orange flakes in the water down there? That's the California state fish. That's the Garibaldi.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. California state fish. Interesting.
Off to the left, you see our little community over there called Hamilton Cove. In the 1930s, that's where our seaplane airport was. It was beautiful to see 20, 30 seaplanes lined up out here in Catalina. You know, they kept coming out here until about 5 years ago in California enacted a law that you needed a permanent dock for them to dock on. We did not have one. So we haven't seen seaplanes out here again, but we hope to see them soon. But that's where our seaplane airport was. The first seaplane airport over there was done by Charlie Chaplin and his brother, Sid Chapman. That's where that's where their airplane was. They had an air service that flew tours to and from Catalina in the early 1900s. So feel free to come in. We'll take some more pictures. We'll stay off the dance floor if you don't mind. And then in a few minutes, we're going to head down on the far right here. We'll head back down the ramps, okay?
What is your take on this tour, Kiko, and would you recommend it?
I would recommend it if you're able to walk all the way over. If not, rent a golf cart, and then I'm sure you can park nearby and go. But I thought it was very informative. They showed us a bunch of areas. The only thing we couldn't do is go on the dance floor. Besides that, we pretty much did everything. Note, you are climbing ramps, so you have to be in the right condition to do that. But I didn't see anybody, and even the group that we had, which varied in ages and sizes, and everyone did well.
All right, you guys, well, that's it from the casino here at Catalina Island.
Avalon area.
If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when we have new content out. The crazy thing is that the theater is right underneath us.
It is.
That
And
is
that's beautiful
just
down there as well.